Herkese merhabalar. İnşallah iyisinizdir. Ee, şey diyeceğim. Projeyle ilgili ve dersle ilgili. Şimdi bölümdeki hocalarımızın tavsiyesi üzerine gökten biliyorsunuz Nisan ayına kadar uzaktan olacağını, sonra da ikinci bir kararla ya uzaktan ya da artık yüz yüze olabileceği belirtilmişti. Onun için bölümdeki hocalarımız şey dediler. Bilgisayar mühendisliği hocalarımız tecrübelerine dayanarak laboratuvarı dediler ilk 3-4 haftayı online yapalım. Orada çok fazla uygulamalar olmayacak. Alttaki şeyin kısmını kayıt yaptık. Evet. Ee, yani 3-4 hafta kayıt yapacaksınız. Sonra 3-4 hafta online yapacaksınız ve orada puanlama olmayacak. Hocamız sizinle uygulamalar yapacak. Yeni gelen arkadaşlar için de güzel bir şey olur, ısınma olur. Yeni gelen arkadaşlar ve projeyi hiç yapmayan arkadaşlara şöyle bir şey yapılacak. Size bir dördüncü proje verilecek arkadaşlar. Yeni bir proje. E, bu şekilde de atıyorum bir ay içinde tamamlanmanız istenecek. Sonrasında e, sizden kademe kademe geliştirmeniz istenecek. Yani mesela bir tane geliştirme mesela dosyalar konusunu işlediğimizde yazdığınız oyun programında çıkmak isteyen bir kişi kaydet butonuna bastığında bulunduğunuz durumu kaydeden, dosyaya kaydeden, tekrar programı açtığınızda, oyunu açtığınızda dosyayı açarak, e, dosya üzerine yükleyerek oyunun bulunduğu durumu tekrar ekrana yansıtan uygulama isteyeceğiz sizden. Yani bu projemizin bir kısmı olacak. Tamam. Evet. Şimdi başka sorusu olan var mı? Efendim, dersteyim şu anda. Teşekkür ederim. Sorusu olan var mı arkadaşlar? Sorularınızı cevaplandırayım. Sonrasında şey yaparız. Derse geçeceğiz. Evet, lab için arkadaşlar. Yani laboratuvar süresince sizden 2-3 tane önceden projeyi biliyorsunuz bir tane yaptırmıştık. Bunda projeyi yani ben mesela Katü'den geldiğimde Katü'de çok büyük bir proje veriyorlar laboratuvar için. Çocuklar sindiremiyordu. Biz onu 2-3 parça halinde vereceğiz size. Yani bu oyun programını biraz daha geliştirmenizi isteyeceğiz. Ara ara diyeceğiz ki projeniz şu. İşte oyun programının dosyaya yazılıp silinmesi gibi. Tamam. Bu şekilde hem yani daha olgun bir uygulama geliştirmiş olacaksınız hem de e, kısım kısım öğrenmiş olacaksınız. Biz de notlandırmayı daha ayrıntılı bir şekilde yapabilmiş olacağız. Tamam. Evet. Furkan senin için dördüncü yani yeni bir ödev vereceğiz senin gibi arkadaşlar için. Bu arkadaşlarımız işte bir ay içinde tamamlayacaklar. Diğer ekibe de o arada projelerini geliştirmek için bir kademe yüksek şey isteyeceğiz. Tamam. Ben onun asistanla görüştüm. Size açık açık anlatacak. Ve Nisan ayına kadar şimdilik bilgisayar ortamından uygulama yapacaksınız. Evde de uygulama tabii devam edebilirsiniz. Yani notlandırma olmayacak laboratuvar içinde. Ama ondan sonra Nisan'dan sonra yok kararı ile birlikte ister uzaktan yani yok dedi ki uzaktan yaptık o zaman uzaktan size laboratuvar içinde uygulamalar verilip süre verilir belli bir süre verilir belki. Ondan sonra o projeyi bitirdiğinize göre küçük laboratuvar uygulamalarını bitirmeye göre size puanlar verilecek. Yani hem laboratuvar içi uygulamalardan not alacaksınız hem de proje parçalarından projelerden not alacaksınız. Tamam. Proje için söylüyorum. Ders için dersimiz daha çok gördüğünüz gibi eee, anlatma şekliyle oluyor. Sunum şekliyle. ve sınav şekliyle olacak. Tamam. Şimdi geçelim dersimize. Okay guys, we are gonna learn strings. This is again a review class. We have seen these guys before. So strings, all programming languages have strings. So we are able to define, represent, initialize strings such a way that we can use those guys. In C, C++, we are using strings like this. We are defining. So strings are using characters, right? Character arrays. There is a single special character which is null, which is this first character, zero character. That means it's basically showing the end or termination character. Okay. This is a simple string definition. It's basically character array. It's holding 8 characters. Okay, at most 8. But we are basically can store 7 characters plus null character, right? So never ever forget the null character. There should be in the string. When we save ABCD in this string, so basically it's holding ABCD in it. These are bytes. And then fifth character, the fourth character will be null, which is telling me that this string ends right there. The rest of the character we don't know yet. We are able to reach those guys by indices, but string is ending at the fourth. Okay. Empty string, which means the null character sitting at the very first cell. That means it's not holding any characters in it. Okay. If we are storing more characters than the string length, which means we are placing our null character at the very end, somewhere in the memory, but basically we are destroying somewhere in the memory. Okay, so we got to be careful. So that means C++ programmer should be careful with strings. Should careful with string. Okay. Warning. Again, we have string. We always need to think about null character. Again, so let's say how to initialize strings. This is a string. Again, it's an array. That's why we can use set bracket. Even though we have 8 spaces, here we are basically using 3 of them. And then in the memory, it looks like this. Okay. So we have ABC characters in it, and then the rest will be null character. Okay. So this picture tells me that how my string looks like in the memory. We can define this way as well. So double quotation. In double quotes, I'm typing my string, and compiler knows that string ends n3. String has 3 characters and the rest will be null character. Okay, so compiler knows what to do. This is another way of describing initializing strings. In this case, I'm not printing the size of the string. The first initialization, compiler knows that we need 4 characters, 3 for the string, 1 is for the null character, right? So in this case, it is just like string for, char string for. This is a special way of initializing string, which means we are defining a pointer and then compiler allocates some space for my string, and then this pointer is representing or showing that place. Okay, so when we have char p, this is again pointer definition, so we can use pointers for representing addresses on the memory, and we can use these pointers to represent or manipulate arrays or strings. Okay, so it's basically representing a character on memory. So this is a pointer. We will touch this topic in the next class, so we will see pointers next week. Okay, so I have a string and it's holding A, B, C, D, E in it. First assignment is wrong, because illegal, because this pointer definition doesn't holding, is not representing any place in the memory, so I'm not able to update that memory place. Okay, the second assigning is all right, because in this case it's telling me that it's basically addressing B on the string. When I update the B, so it will be A, X, C, D, E in the memory. Okay, you can check by yourself. So let's say these are my definitions, string definitions. String 1 is a string and it's holding ABC in it. I'm not able to change that string because it's basically compiler allocates space for me. The second one is I'm not able to update the size. There will be 4 bytes only. For string 3, there will be 20 characters or bytes in it, but right now I'm just using first 3. Okay, for string 4 there will be 40 characters, 39 plus 1 null character, right? The char star p or asterisk p means this guy is basically representing a space, an address, character address in the memory. Right now it's not showing anything. So p equals string 1 means in string 2 1, it's basically addressing the second character of ABC, and it's updating B with X, capital X. So in the memory my string 2 becomes AXC. Okay, the second equation is p equals string 3 and p asterisk p equals y. That means string 3 becomes ybc. Okay, now pointer is addressing the third character, and the third character is basically there will be a null character. Right now we are updating null character with z and then adding a null character right after that. In that case my string 3 will be y, b, c, and z. Okay, so be careful how it works. And then I'm able to update my string 4 by indices. This is how it works. So somewhere in this string I'm putting my null character. First and second character will be k and l. Okay, so printing strings on the screen or monitor, right? This is my string. I can use puts command or function. It's basically accepting a string and then printing the string to the screen. Or I can use a formatted way, which is a printf command. In this case, it's printing my string. So %s means it's accepting a string as a parameter. Okay. This is another way of printing with format, which means there will be 40 spaces for this printf, and then it's printing my string and it will be right adjusted. Okay. In this case, it will be left adjusted, but again, there will be 40 spaces and then we are writing our text to the left adjusted way. Okay. So another way of printing strings with format, in this case, .10s means I have a string, I want to print only first 10 characters. In this case, it will print this plus space plus is, which is 7, 8, 9, 10. This is my, so it's gonna print this is my, not anymore. Okay. Another printing format, in this case, there will be 40 spaces and then my string will be written, first 10 characters will be written on the right side of this space. Okay. And similarly, in this case, there will be 40 spaces. My first 10 characters will be sitting on the first spaces. Okay. And in this case, this is a string 2 and it's holding 8 characters. That means we always are thinking that there will be 7 to 9 characters plus 1 null character, right? So reading strings from the keyboard, we can use gets function. Gets function, it's getting string, right? And then taking the characters, copying the characters to string 2 place. Or I can use scanf function. Again, this is a formatted scan. In this case, we are reading string 2 with %s. Okay. Scanf function works like this. It's basically ends with space character, tab and new line. Okay. Scanf function is special. Basically, it's skipping all the white spaces first, and then it's accepting string, and then after there is a white space, scanf function thinks that my reading is done. Okay. So the reading of this input will be XYZ and 1, 2, 3, nothing more. Okay. But if we use get string, in that case, it will read everything. Here's a read line function. It's basically reading a string and then only checking a new line function there. Okay, read line function, it's getting characters character by character. So get char is basically getting character, only one character from the keyboard, and checking that if it's a new line, it's done. If it's not a new line, that character is copied to the string. Okay. And there is a problem here. What happens if I put 100 characters there? In that case, we are not checking the size, limitations of the size, okay? So something wrong with this function. And here is a fixation. So in this case, it's always checking the size of the characters, okay? So string read line n is accepting two parameters. One is the string, second one is the size of the string, 79. And it's basically reading all the characters. And then if the character is not equal to a new line, it's copied to the string. At the very end, we are basically putting my null character at the end, and then we are returning our string, which means this is much more sophisticated way to read 80 characters at most. Okay, so there are libraries so we can use and manipulate strings. String.h is C function, and C string is a C++ library. Okay, so string len, string copy, string cat, and string compare. Let's see how those guys are working. Okay, so string len function is sitting here. It's basically finding the length of the string. Since we don't save the size of the string, in that case we are calling this function, so it's basically checking the size, basically finding the my null character, and then when it's done, it's returning the length of the string. Okay, string copy function, it's basically copying string 2, which is source, to string 1, which is source, right? So basically, first of all, my pointer is addressing string 1, and then it's reading, the while loop is reading every character from string 2 and then copying that character to string 1. Okay, okay, so string 2 equals string 2 plus 1. That means we are basically moving one right on the string 2. String cat, which basically concatenation operation. That means we are putting string 2 right after string 1. It's basically addition operation or glue operation. Okay, string 1, we are keeping string 1 and then basically adding string 2 right next to it. Okay, and these while loops are basically copying the inside of string 1 and string 2, and then at the very end, never forget this, we are putting null character. Okay, string compare, it's comparing two strings. It's basically checking that if these guys are equal size or they have equal characters in it. If they are, we are basically skipping those characters. At the very end, it's subtracting string 2 from string 1, which means we are subtracting characters, finite characters. If it is less than 0, that means string 1 is less than string 2. This is called lexicographic order. Okay, it's basically checking that A, B, C is less than, let's say, D, E, F, because D is bigger. Okay, alphabetically A is lower than Z. If the result is bigger than 0, that means string 2 is less than string 1. If this result is equal, that means these two strings are equal. String n copy, string n cat, and string n compare, which means in this case we are limiting the size of the copy from string 2. Okay, that means we are string n characters. We are copying n characters from string 2. String n cat means in this case we are copying n characters or appending n characters to string 1. String n compare means we are comparing two strings, but in this case we are looking only first n characters. Okay, string char and string, these commands are these functions. First function is looking or searching one character if it is in the string or not. Okay, string, in this case we are searching one string in another string. Okay, so we are searching string 2 in string 1. String tokenizer is a special function. We are not we will not be using this function until we are learning parsing operations. Okay, so parsing means there are special characters, let's say space. We have a sentence, we are chopping off sentence into words by tokenizing it. Okay, it works like this. I have a word, I have a string, my name is Neo, and then my token is space. In this case, what we do here, it is tokenizing my words. Okay, it's chopping off my string or sentence into words. And here is another example. In this case, I have two strings, and then in the string, you remember there's a top key, new line, and comma, okay, and space. So we are basically chopping off these strings into parts. Okay, and in SEP's string we have space, comma, tab, and new line. Okay, so it works like this. First of all, we are tokenizing or chopping my string with separations. Okay, and that means we are chopping off my string into parts. Array of strings. So up until now we have only one array of characters, which we call it strings. Let's say if we have lots of strings like here. Okay, in this case I need to define array of strings. In this case, each string is holding 8 characters, and in the memory it looks like this. Okay, I have some padding in order to fill the space. Okay, these paddings will be null character here, and sometimes let's say my strings, some of them are very long, some of them are very short. That's basically leads to waste. Okay, what can I do? I can do it this way. In this way, much smarter. For each string I am holding a pointer, and each pointer is basically representing one string. Okay, in this case it's much more sophisticated way to save string. Okay, and what else? So the rest of the code, this for loop is basically printing each planet, and there will be 9 planets there, right? Okay, so here's a database, simple, very simple database program. Database means, let's say, your bank account information are stored in database in the banks. Okay, your ID, your social security number, your information, your address, everything are stored in the bank account. So it's called database. Okay, millions of people are sitting there, the data. All millions of people are sitting, or students are sitting in the university database, right? So database are look like this. So we have some codes and some text, and this database are basically holding code plus uh, code plus tools. Okay, so it works like this. First of all, it's asking to user to give some information. Let's say we are typing something, so in order to search from the database, if this searching operation, since it's looking for string, be careful with this. So it's basically checking my lookup word or characters in my strings. If we found it, it's basically writing that we found it. Okay, it works like this. Let's say I put CD 257. So that chunk of code is sitting in one of the my record. Okay, another example, if I type CS, that means that product is sitting CS 109 car stereo. If I put AB, it's checking my input character and then searching from my in my database or strings. Since there is no AB sitting in my strings, so it's basically giving me that no matching product was found. Okay, so it's a product database, very simple database. So string class, this is basically when you see a class, which means that programming language is object oriented, and in our case it's a C++ issue. Okay, so we can use extra these functions, and which are include C type .h header file. Okay, these functions are basically checking each character. If it is alphabetical letter, we are able to check that. If it's a number or digit, we can check that. It's a lowercase or uppercase. Is it a space or punctuation, printable character? Okay, so we can use these functions. These are basically helping macros for us. Here's an example. Program is asking user to give any character, so we are able to use cin function, which is getting a character from the user. When we input the character, it's basically printing the ASCII code, and then it's checking then if it is an alphanumeric alpha number, which means if it's a letter in the alphabet, or if it's a digit, it's basically printing that this is a digit, or lowercase, uppercase. So it's basically telling me what kinds of character we entered. Okay, So let's say when we run the program, when we put A, it's basically telling me that we entered A and the ASCII code is 65. And it's telling me that this is a letter K, right? So, and at the very end, it's checking the upper or lower case. In this case, it's a capital A. When I put 7, it tells me that this is a digit, and then its ASCII code is 55. Okay, so I'm basically using these functions in order to check what kinds of characters I'm dealing with. So another simple example. In this case, we are asking to customer to enter a number or code. Okay, so first 3 letters will be letters, final 4 characters will be numbers. Okay, so this is a simple again database search or format search. And when we use scene get line, which means we are getting a bunch of characters from the keyboard, and we are calling the function test number. So test, when we test the number, so here is how it works. This is the test num function. So for first loop is looking for the first 3 characters, right? If they are alphanumerical, if they are not alphanumerical, so it will return false because this is not the format we are looking for. Final 4 characters that we are looking for, they should be digit. If they are not digit, so we are getting false. Okay, let's say when we run the program and when we input RQS4567 and enter, it will tell us that this is a valid customer number because first 3 characters are letters, final 4 characters are digits. Okay, and when we run the program again and the format is sitting there, but I input a wrong sequence, in that case it will tell me that this is not a valid customer number. Okay, so we are able to use upper and lower case to upper and to lower, just like here. This is a C++ functions. To upper function basically gets a character letter and makes it to uppercase. Okay, when I have lowercase a, and it will give me uppercase A, or when I give lowercase c, it will give me uppercase C, and to lower function works vice versa. And in my case, I asked this very same question in the first semester. When I want you to do that, let me have, where is pointer options pen? Okay, in ASCII characters, we know that from 65, I'm sorry, from 65 to 97, we have capital letters A, B, C, whatever. So A is 65, B is 66, C is 67, okay? And X is 85. I don't remember the exact code, but let's say 85. And Z is 93. Let's say if I put something like this, a, x, c, t, and 33. In that case, so I'm getting a and then checking that if it's bigger than 95, 97, yes, so I keep a. So to make it lowercase, I can write these programs or functions by myself by using ASCII code, right? So when I get x, so x is less than 97, that means that's a uppercase letter. So I will basically add 32, which means 85 plus 32 will be lowercase x, okay? And c, let's say for the third character, c is 67, which means less than 97. In that case, I'm basically subtracting 92, oh, I'm sorry, adding 92. So I will find 99, which is ASCII code for lowercase c. Okay. So basically, I can add 32 for uppercase letters to make those guys the lowercase. When I subtract 32, if I can have lowercase to make those guys uppercase. Okay. I asked this, but many students try to use these kinds of functions. Okay. I also accept those guys. So what else? Okay. So let me give you one or more example. Usually programs are using uh, asking users to get y or n for you, yes or no input. Okay, so here is an example. This function is basically finding the area of the circle. So with a do loop, do while loop, it's asking student to get a number, and then if the input is yes or no, okay, in this case input should be yes or no. If otherwise, the question is asking again and again. Okay, if you put b there or c there, the question will be repeated. In this case, when I enter some radius, it will find the area of it, and then it will end, and then it will ask me to put y or n. Even though I put lowercase y, this function will make it uppercase. Okay, in this case, even though I put lowercase n, this function make it uppercase. Okay. If the input is y, so the process will start again. So I think we are done. Do you have any question? Şimdi arkadaşlar birinci gruba uygulama yaptırdım. Yani ufaktan bir uygulama yaptık. Şöyle bir antrenman olsun diye. Sizle de yapacağız. Nerede benim raporitim? Bildiğiniz gibi şöyle bir site var. Kendi şeyinizle de girebilirsiniz. Böyle bir sitede Replit yeni gelen arkadaşlara duyurmak için söylüyorum. Yani derleyiciyi sıfırdan kurmanıza gerek kalmıyor bazı uygulamalarda. Burada gördüğünüz gibi 30'dan fazla programlama dilinin derleyicisi var. Kodu buraya yazıyorsunuz. Çalıştır dediğinizde sağ tarafta sonucu görüyorsunuz. Şimdi şöyle yapacağız. Elimde bir dizi var. Bu diziyi recursive fonksiyonlar kullanarak baştan sona ve sondan başa şekilde yazılmasını istiyorum. Bir A dizisi olsun. 10 tane eleman eşittir. İşte 5, 9, 0, 4, 3, 2, 5, 6, 7 kaç tane oldu? 4, bir tane daha olacak. Tamam. Şimdi böyle bir dizim var. Bu dizimi ne yapmak istiyorum? F recursive forward. Böyle bir fonksiyonunu çağırmak istiyorum. Bu fonksiyonu çağırmak istediğimde A şeyini göndereceğim. 10 bilgisini de göndereceğim. Bir de diyeceğim ki sıfırıncı karakterden başla. Tamam. Yani recursive fonksiyon kullanarak bunu ekrana bastıran bir uygulama yapmak istiyorum. Void f recursive f int a diyebilirim. Bu benim dizimi alacak. Int i diyebilirim. Bu benim indisimi gösterecek. Int n de dizimin boyutunu gösterecek. Aslında burada n sabit tabii sürekli. Şimdi ben şey yapıyorum arkadaşlar. Eğer benim int pardon şu anda yazmak istediğim bulunduğum indis i indisi büyüktür. Küçüktür. N ise diyorum ki standart cout ne yazacaktı? AI yazacak. Ekrana AI yazsın. Hatta sonrasında biraz da boşluk bıraksın ki şey olmasın. Tamam. Sonra da küçükse bir sonrakini çağırsın. F record. Ne yapmış oluyorum burada? Pardon. Diyorum ki ben bulunduğum dizi şu anda sıfırıncı elemandayım. 0 10'dan küçüktür. Evet. Sıfırıncı elemanı ekrana bas. Sonra diyorum ki git bakalım bir sonraki elemanı bastırabiliyor musun? Tamam. Recursive fonksiyon kullandım. Benim diziyi baştan sona kadar 6 9 0 evet 4 3 2 6 7 8 evet gördüğünüz gibi kendi kendini çağıran fonksiyon recursive fonksiyondu. Kendi kendini çağıran ve verdiğim diziyi düzgün bir şekilde ekrana basan bir fonksiyon yazdım. Sorusu olan var mı? Evet. Şimdi neredeydim? Şurada. Benzer şekilde arkadaşlar şu fonksiyonu bir kopyalayayım. Ekrana reverse bastıran bir fonksiyon yapacağım. Şuradayım. Araya bir boşluk koysun ki göreyim ben onu. İki tane boşluk koysun. Tamam. Sonra da şu fonksiyonu çağırsın. F recursive. Yine sıfırıncı indisten başlamasını istiyorum. Tersten de başlatabilirim. Sıfıra kadar insin. Ama şeyi görmenizi açısından. Şimdi sıfırıncı eleman geldiği zaman ben diyorum ki şeye git. Şimdi eksi 1 yapmam lazım. Bir sonrakine git kardeşim. Hemen bastırma. Tamam. En sona gittiğin zaman da burada yapmak istediğim şu. I elemanı bir kere dokuzuncu şeye kadar gitsin. Ondan sonra ekrana dokuzuncu elemanı bastırsın. Sekizinci eleman ondan sonra ekrana basılsın. Yedinci eleman ondan sonra ekrana basılsın. Hedefim o. Pardon. Çalıştır dediğimize arkadaşlar. Gördüğünüz gibi basit bir düzenleme yaparak, tamam mı? Recursive fonksiyonların güzelliği o zaten. Basit bir düzenleme yaparak ilk önce çağırma işlemlerini bitirdim. Sonra ekrana yazdırdım. Bu şekilde beni tersten basma işlemini yaptı. İlk önce bulunduğum indisi bastım. Sonra dedim ki git bakalım bir sonrakine. Tamam. Bu şekilde de ardışıl sıralı bir şekilde işlemi yapıp bir sonraki adıma recursive fonksiyonuna geçmiş oldum. Tamam. Sorusu olan var mı? Siz de benzer şekilde arkadaşlar şey yapmanız lazım. Yani böyle uygulamalarla süslemeniz lazım. Biz burada yani İngilizce dersini düşünün. İngilizce dersinde sadece kurallar verilir ve belli başlı örnekler verilir. Ve İngilizce'de artık makale yazacaksanız, şarkı yazacaksanız gerisi size ait. Tamam. Bizde de bütün programın her aşamasını gösteremeyiz. Temel belli başlı kurallarını gösteriyoruz. Geri kalan gelişme kısmı size ait. Evet, başka sorusu olan var mı? Şu anda video kayıtları devam ediyor. 50 dakika olmuş. Evet. Arkadaşlar kendinize iyi bakın. Görüşmek üzere.